is coming pretty soon with some new mechanics like some juicy drive impacts, drive rush, and parries, but I think Street Fighter 6 did something that will fundamentally change how Street Fighter is being played. You can now walk back.
Oh my god!
Alright, before you start thinking that I'm totally crazy, allow me to explain what I mean. In Street Fighter, there is something called proximity block. Pretty much the defender will enter a blocking animation if they're holding back, if the aggressor is doing an attack in their proximity. Pretty much if you are close to you and they are hitting you with something or at least attempting to, your character will enter a blocking animation. This is nothing new either, this have been in Street Fighter games since Street Fighter 2. Notice how Honda is holding a blocking stance before the fireball actually connects with him on block. This is also the reason that backdashes were fully invincible during Street Fighter 4. You see, in Street Fighter 4, the game had focus attacks, right? And a fully charged focus was a guard breaking attack. Proximity block would keep you stuck in block even if you were holding back. So the only answer was, well, make backdashes invincible so that there is an escape option. Proximity block is not a fighting game standard. In other games like Guilty Gear and King of Fighters, you can simply attack the opponent from distance and it will not trigger a blocking animation even if they are holding the backward direction. There are two main issues with how proximity block works in Street Fighter games. The first one is the range it triggers from. Typically this is a value that is special for each specific move, but it usually is way further than the actual hitbox of the move itself. The second issue with proximity block is that it would often trigger during the startup frames of the moves, before the moves are active and the hits are actually out there. This means that if the opponent is charging an attack at you, you will be stuck in the blocking animation, unable to move out of the way, and maybe you don't want to move sometimes? But thankfully, Street Fighter 6 is already adjusting this, at least that is what we know right now. There is a fantastic video on this topic by NurseLee, I will highly recommend you checking this out. But as you can see, Ryu can finally walk out of Luke, charging his medium punch flash knuckle. And here we see Kimberly doing her jab, and Ken is not stuck in block and he's able to walk out. And you might ask me like, Mura, well, why are you making a big deal out of this? We can already jump, you can backdash, and in these cases you get punishes, so it's not a big deal. But the thing about backdashes and jumps is that they are commitment based options. If the opponent reads that you're going to do this, they can punish you. Let's take a look at a move like Bison Psycho Axe again, because this move is fascinating. If you take a look here, Ryu is assuming a blocking stance as soon as Bison starts the attack, not as soon as the move itself is active. It have 18 frames, the hit comes after 18 frames, but the proximity blocks kicks in frame 1. This means that if Ryu was not already out of the gray box range, Ryu can't walk out of it, and this is what makes it feel like you can't walk out of Bison's pressure. This is why a lot of people struggle against Bison. You feel like you can't move. I've heard a lot of my friends who are not like as versed into the FGC say they feel like they're stuck in place, and that is what proximity block does. From what I can gather here, what Street Fighter 6 is doing is a combination of reducing the range of the proximity block itself, and they're also making it so that the characters will only assume the blocking stance when the moves are active and not during startup, which should actually be a game changer. This means that it's much easier now to walk out of pressure, it's much easier to walk out in general, be able to whiff punish. We've seen a lot of emphasis on punish counters and you get additional combos out of that, and that's why I was saying this could fundamentally change how Street Fighter is being played. Mechanics like drive impact, drive rush and all of that, I mean they are new mechanics for sure, but they don't factor into every single interaction action the same way that something like proximity block does. And that is pretty much it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. We'll be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.